Fly, Eagles, fly.
It's football! No. TikTok brains keep telling me I don't know ball.
I was surely convinced that this game was rigged.
What are we doing in the second half of this football game?
Welcome back to Morning Wood. This is a sports show. Football's in full effect. My name's Jason. This is Matt. We are dumb. We have a sports show. We talk football, but playoff baseball starts today. I got my O's gear on.
I have my Bethlehem baseball.
Orioles play baseball, playoff baseball today. They play the Kansas City Royals, and we're going to get a dub. I might go to the game tomorrow. We'll see.
Ooh.
We'll see. But top of the morning news, lot to talk about with football. Some good news for the Browns. They need some of that right now. Nick Chubb is expected to return to practice this week. The Browns desperately need some kind of spark just overall for the team. Maybe, just maybe, Nick Chubb, I think, who's probably 1A in the ranks of running backs in the NFL. Can he bring that to the Browns?
Yes.
Yes? Hopefully.
Yes, he can.
Because Deshaun Watson's not going to do it.
He's busy getting massages.
Brian Callahan says Will Levis is 100% the Titans starting QB. He went down yesterday with an AC joint injury, but he said when he's healthy, even after Mason Rudolph led the team to a win, their first win of the season, Will Levis is 100% the Titans starting QB. They have a bye coming up this week, so I'm assuming Will Levis will get healthy for their next game. He is 100% their QB, according to head coach Brian Callahan, which I don't know should be the case, but that's the coach's decision. Good news for the Colts. Anthony Richardson, who left the game, Joe Flacco came in for him. He's day-to-day with an oblique injury. Could be good to go this week against the Jags. Jonathan Taylor also suffered a high ankle sprain. Overall, good news for the Colts. It's not too serious. He could miss some time, but not too significant of an injury. And then big news for the Chiefs. Rashee Rice is expected to be out for the entire season. We don't have a complete timeline yet on his injury. But right now, Xavier Worthy, who's the number one for the Chiefs? Juju Smith-Schuster, what are the Chiefs going to do? Maybe try to get Travis Kelce going a little bit. But do the Chiefs trade for a veteran wide receiver before the deadline? Me personally, I'm assuming they are open and looking to any offers that come upon them. But that's the top of the morning news for this week. Not too much going on, but we'll recap NFL right here soon. I will pass it off to you.
Let me take that. Let me get into the best segment on the internet, the best segment maybe in any sports content show, anything of all time. The Antonio Brown tweet of the day, rolling.
Kicks him in. Antonio Brown.
Go on social media, man. This is about us, nobody else, man.
I'm choosing the CJ Gardner-Johnson tweet. He must have been going back and forth with this guy on Twitter, but he ends up blocking AB, and AB tweets at him. Well, he didn't tweet at him, but he tweeted saying, "Talked all that shit to give up 4 touchdowns in 4 games. Then block me. Welcome to CTE ESPN." That's not a good look. You can't talk all that junk, especially at the defensive back position. That's like them and the wide receivers are like the guys that get the mouth going. And if you can't back it up, that's not a good look. I kind of wish Antonio Brown met this guy in his prime so he could have gave him like 18 catches for 240 yards and 3 touchdowns. But yeah, Gardner-Johnson, 4 touchdowns in 4 games given up. That's not good, my guy. And then you block somebody on Twitter, you can't back it up.
If you're going to get your feelings hurt, you probably should. Like, if you're going to be on the internet and get your feelings hurt, you probably shouldn't be looking at AB's tweets because he's going to get after you.
He's going to get after you. It's CTE ESPN.
He's going to get after you hard.
Like, that's what he does right now. But that's my tweet of the day. Not a good look for the Eagles defensive back. AB still cooking DBs on and off the field.
Cooking them.
So that's my tweet of the day. Follow Antonio Brown. Turn his noties on. Legend. let's talk about football.
Let's talk about what happened over this crazy weekend of football. The Bengals. Fortunately, my prediction of them going 0-17 is now unfortunately dead. They escape Andy Dalton and the Panthers. The Bengals get their first win. But from the eye test, the Bengals have a really glaring issue, and it's on the defense.
Yeah.
Even though the Joe Burrow and the offense carried them, Dalton threw 2 touchdowns. Hubbard ran for over 100 yards. This is going to be an issue when they play like a real team. Like the Panthers, okay, they had a good win last week, but they're still the Panthers. And the Bengals, they beat them by 10. So I think the Bengals have an issue, and it's the defense.
They definitely do. I agree. They've given up 30 plus in back-to-back games now. Not good at all. Yeah, Ellen DeGeneres and the offense, they hold on, they win. That connection, between Burrow and Chase looked really good. It's still in full effect. I think offensively, like they'll be fine. They have good pieces. I think if Burrow and the coaching staff can get back on pace, they'll be fine. But the defense, not impressive at all. I will say the Bengals do have a favorable schedule after they host y'all this week. Obviously, that's a rough game. Big game. But even if they lose that, I know they fall to 1-4, but they have a favorable couple, I think a good stretch of 4 or 5 games that are very winnable for them. So they could kind of get bounced back into the season. Obviously, us being in that division as fans, we don't want to see that. But if you are a Bengals fan, that is something to look forward to, I would say.
Yeah, let's move to the Falcons. They get a big win. Young Ho from Curry range for the win. The Falcons kind of have some offensive woes. The defense scores 2 touchdowns, but they get a big win against the Saints. The Saints, after coming out, probably the hottest team in the NFL for 2 weeks, drop 2 straight, lose a big division game against the Falcons.
Yeah, I didn't watch this game at all, but I did kind of look into it a little bit. The Saints, like you said, they lose 2 in a row. Not a great look. I know, obviously it's hard to win a game when you give the opposing team 2 touchdowns on the defense side of the ball. That's
yeah.
You're not going to win too many games doing that. But them falling to the Eagles at home and now a division game, the Saints, I don't know what to make of them. I mean, 2-2 is very surprising after the way they looked the first 2 weeks. They kind of were just dominating everybody, especially offensively. They haven't really shown that in the last 2 weeks, especially from the offensive standpoint. They've been a little stagnant. I haven't really watched those games, so I don't really know exactly what the problem is, but not good for the Saints. Not good.
No, I don't think it's panic mode, but mode yet. They're both 2-2. The Falcons are 2-2. The Saints are 2-2. But now the Falcons have a head-to-head over the Saints.
Right. The division's close though. 3-1, 2-2, 2-2. So it's and then the Panthers.
The Jags are officially the only winless team in the NFL right now. They did have a good game against the Texans. That was a good football game. The Texans are a good football team, but they still fall short and they don't have any wins on the season. Tough look for the Jags. Just really tough look for the Jags right now.
Yeah, man. I mean, they really did. That was their last going out with a bang swing for the fences. And they played well. I mean, there was a last second, touchdown, I think, by the Texans to win that. So they did. They played well. I just don't know what they do going forward. Because is Doug Peterson the problem? Is Trevor Lawrence the problem? I know he's good. He could be good. It might be coaching. It might be development. I don't know. But 0-9 in his last 9 starts is not going to get the job done, especially after you get a paycheck. I don't care, who you are. That's just the front office. Everybody, the fans are going to start questioning that. You got to, especially in the division, you got to pull some of these games out. So again, I don't know what we'd have to look even into their schedule possibly, but I don't even know what. And I said this last week that I didn't know what the move forward for Jacksonville was, and then they lose. I'm still unsure of
the Jags are dead. The Jags are dead.
Yeah, this season is
they got the Colts next week. If they go 0-5, it's over. It's over.
Yeah, I think it's already over, which is unfortunate for a young kind of up and coming ish team. But yeah, not good. Not good.
The Broncos have a total of 186 yards on offense and win at MetLife against the Jets. The Jets offense. This is an inexcusable loss from the Jets.
Yeah.
They kicked 3 field goals. Every other drive ended in a punt. Just a horrible, like, I remember watching the highlights for this game. Like, they could not finish drives, finish third. Like, they couldn't convert on third down. They had like 5 false start penalties at home. Just, this is a bad loss for the Jets. Horrible loss.
No, yeah, it is bad. I mean, coming off of like how they looked last week, they dominate, and then they come out flat. Like watching this game was brutal. If you're a Jets fan, I'm sure it was even worse. They had 13 total penalties for like 90 plus yards, almost 100 yards of penalties from the Jets at home. That is unheard of. I think that's crazy. I know it was a bit of the weather was bad and and stuff like that, but they get the ball. I remember when I was watching, they had the ball on the like 1 yard line. They go 2 runs with Breece Hall, don't get in. Then they go on a play action pass. I think they don't get it. Like, you gotta score when like the money zone, the red zone. You gotta score. I know Aaron Rodgers has said like once he gets the ball to 5, the offense will start clicking. Buddy, we got to get the whole offense clicking. Like the offensive line, the receivers, the running back, the play calling. Like, this was a horrible game. I don't want to take anything away from the Broncos, though. The last 2 weeks, their defense has shown up big against Tampa Bay last week. And now, I know the weather was bad, but still a good Jets offense on paper, even though it was a little rainy. But their defense has showed up big in the last 2 weeks, and they 2-0 in the last 2 weeks for the Denver Broncos with Bo Nix. It's crazy.
Such a horrible loss for the Jets.
It's really bad.
I mean, I think they had over 300 yards of offense like in that game. Like, Aaron Rodgers threw for over 200 yards.
Yeah.
I just don't know how you.
The only positive is the whole division loss. I guess as a Jets fan, that's like the only thing you could say.
Let's go to the Skull. Vikings dominate the first half, but hold on after the Packers score 22 in the fourth quarter. The Vikings defense continues to turn the ball over, or continues to force turnovers.
Right.
Packers almost come back, battled back, but Vikings 4-0.
It's crazy. I mean, I thought this was going to be a blowout. They're up 28-7. I look over in the red zone. Well, I had this game actually up on my other monitor because it was our matchup of the week. And I'm glad it was a bit of a banger. It looked like it was about to be a sleeper. Turns out to be a banger a little bit. The Vikings, it is the shock of the league, I guess. But the biggest thing about this game is the Packers missed 2 field goals in this game. Not good. Yeah. It was early. One of them was earlier in the game where I think it was looking a little bit like of a blowout. But later in that game, they missed another one. The Packers did bring it back. The 3 interceptions from Love, not great. His first game back from injury. One of them really wasn't his fault. It kind of bounced off like 2 receivers. But still, 3 turnovers, especially from your quarterback, is not going to win you the game. I do have a stat that I want to talk about here as far as kickers. It says that Braden Narvison, the kicker for the Packers, is the only kicker to miss a field goal under 40 yards this season. NFL kickers are 115 for 116, 99.1% from 40 or under in 2024. He's the first kicker to do that this year. I'm going to start a movement here, by the way, everybody. Hashtag strength the goalpost. Kickers are too good. But apparently not in Green Bay. He misses 2 crucial and one of them wasn't even close. It was a hook left. I mean, it ends up in the stands. He kicked it with like a steel-toe boot on or something. That was terrible. Kind of a false hope comeback from the Packers, which is unfortunate. But yeah, like you said, 4-0 from the Vikings. They're rolling out there in Minnesota, rolling. And
that division is crazy. Probably the best division in football through 4 weeks right now is the NFC North.
It definitely is. I mean, the Bears won. Like, yeah.
The Colts hang on to beat your Steelers. My impression of this game, I think Justin Fields played pretty well. Besides the turnover, the fumble at the end of the game. But he did give them a chance at the end of the game to win. I didn't think with that offense it would be possible to come back from behind. Defense didn't play like you want them to, but they're not going to be the 2000 Ravens every week and only give up 10 points a game. So But I think it's good. It's good to see that the offense has the ability to like, okay, fourth quarter, we're down 2 scores. We can put some points on the board. And they did that. They just fell short with that turnover at the end.
Yeah. I don't know how I felt about this game. Everyone's saying, the defense obviously didn't, win the game for us this week. I will say Fields definitely did. The problem with Fields' stat line, and a lot of people, what they're talking about, is usually when a quarterback ends up with a good stat line, it's usually like, especially in the second half of the game, it's usually because you don't do the things you need to in the first half of the game, which we didn't. We go down 17-3 on the road. That's not the recipe for success. Yes, he did end up with a good game. He had 2 touchdowns, rushing. I think he threw another 3 total touchdowns is good. He threw for 300 plus yards. But like I said, when you're playing catch up, that's usually what it leads to. I did want to see what the offense looked like. I've said this, the last few weeks. I did want to see what we look like from behind, like what we need to do, which that was positive. I just think like it was a little bit too late. Obviously the turnover was unfortunate. The fumble was huge. And then we actually are in the game late in the fourth, and then there was a miss. I don't know if it was a snap count. I don't know if it was not everybody getting set for the snap, but that we had a huge loss of a play, that puts us back in a huge down and distance, and we just can't recover from that. I will say one thing I will complain about is I did see a bunch of pictures and videos of TJ Watt being held in this game. No penalties for him is unusual. Usually it's either sacks come from TJ or penalties, and neither came. And I know that, the Colts have a good offensive line, but that's the best defensive end in football, or like pass rusher in football right now. And no flags on a bunch of calls that should have been made. That's kind of unfortunate. But overall, I'm not happy with the loss, but I'm also not like, it's not the end of the world. We're 3-1. I didn't like seeing the defense play like that, but I did ask for that, so I did get what I wanted, unfortunately. But offensively, we took too long to get it going. It is a good sign. Maybe we could piggyback off of it. I still personally think, at the end of the day, Russell Wilson, we have a 9-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl winner, 2-time Super Bowl appearance quarterback, just sitting on the bench. I like Fields. I think he's playing good. But overall, I still think Russ, at the end of the day, is going to compete with teams like Lamar, a quarterback like Lamar, a quarterback like Herbert, a quarterback like Allen, a quarterback like Mahomes in the AFC. I think he'll compete far better than Fields would. But unfortunate loss.
Let's move on. The Bears.
Bears.
They win. They beat a Rams team that doesn't have anyone on it except Matthew Stafford. It's just tough for the Rams. I mean, the Bears, I'll give them some credit. Caleb Williams put together a few scoring drives. But the Rams defense is bad, just overall. Yeah. And the Rams offense just has so many injuries. They can't really get, like, they don't have that guy to make a play. Like, sometimes you need a guy to make a play on a third down or late in the game, and they don't have anyone to do that. Yeah. So it's tough. It's tough for the Rams right now.
Yeah. I didn't watch this game at all, and the Bears won it. So shout out to the Bears.
The Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to misery. Nick Sirianni, I know he's on the hot seat right now with Eagles fans, at least. I know that's the buzz around Philly right now. I know the injuries to A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith are hurting them bad, but they did not look good regardless against Baker and the Bucs, and they lose pretty big here.
Yeah, they got waxed. They're a weird team right now. They're a drop away with Saquon from being 3-0. So it's like, okay, we're 2-1. Things are looking up, and then they come into Tampa Bay and throw an absolute stinker up there. Now they fall to 2-2 in week 5. They get embarrassed by the Bucs. Baker cooks for 347 yards and 2 touchdowns. They also have another 2 touchdowns on the ground. This offense cooking. Defense for the Eagles. Again, we saw hints of this a little bit against Atlanta. We commented on this, that their defense in that last drive looked very weak. I don't know if this is,
their secondary is not great.
It's not great. We already had Antonio Brown cooking them. The Bucs are now cooking them. We need to figure that out if you're Philly. Falling to 2-2, a bit of a surprise, I'd say. I know, like we said, the injuries to the guys on the outside is huge, but I can't say anything like that because the injured reserve Rams beat the 49ers, one of the best defenses, with nobody at the receiver position. So you got to figure it out. As far as a coach, I know the fans are on Nick, but what does Nick do? Like, what does he do? He doesn't call plays for the defense. He doesn't call plays for the offense. He's more of an offensive guy, I guess. But, like, what does he do? Like, what does this guy do? I know they had their Super Bowl run, but they
doesn't
lose.
kick field goals. That's what he doesn't do.
He doesn't kick field goals. Is this one of those NFC teams where they go to the Super Bowl and they fall off a cliff, kind of like the Falcons did in 2016, kind of like the Panthers did in 2015? They get to the Super Bowl, they lose, and then it's just the rails fall off, and it's downhill from there. I don't know. I like this team. I like Saquon. I like pieces of it, some of their defense, but they got to figure things out. 2-2 is not great. I know the division isn't out of hands yet. Washington looking good. We'll get into that in a second, but
yeah, I've seen the internet kind of be the internet and get some Bill Belichick in some Eagles gear as their next head coach.
I think
So
every
we'll see
team has a
Yeah.
has a Photoshop of Bill Belichick in there. We need a Photoshop of Bill Belichick.
Yeah, facts.
Everybody does.
Staying in the division, the Commanders continue
We are
to
Commanders.
dominate. We are Commanders. They make every possession count, which is, I mean, with a rookie quarterback is something we probably haven't seen. I mean, other than CJ Stroud kind of doing that last year, but Jaden Daniels is right there with them. They punted one time in the past 3 games with a rookie at quarterback, which is like unheard of. They dominate the Cardinals. Defense is probably underrated for the Commanders as well. They've been playing great. I mean, it's easy when Jaden Daniels is pretty much on the field the whole game. But I mean, Commanders, talk about the Eagles. The Commanders, they could win the East.
I don't think it's even I don't even think it's a crazy take on them. They're playing really well. I have in my notes the Commanders are winning the Super Bowl and Jaden Daniels winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's set in stone. I don't care what anybody says. I'm on board now. I was a little bit iffy going into the Bengals game. I picked the Bengals and win that game, and then they just said no. And then I think I took Arizona in this game, and then they said no again. So I'm not picking against the Commanders anymore. The defense is doing enough to win games. Like you said, I think they've only had they kind of got routed by the Bucs, but the Bucs offense has done that quite a few times now this season. But other than the Bucs and then the Bengals did offensively, put up points with them. They've looked good defensively, but the biggest thing is Jaden Daniels in this offense, man. 5 total touchdowns and only 1 turnover in the last 2 games. They're now 2-0. They're averaging 40 on offense, 40 points on offense in 2 weeks. That's crazy. That college offense, man, that everybody's talking crap about. I mean, they don't care what offense they're running in.
That coaching staff they
So
did it
good.
right. They did it right.
So good
in Washington.
Yeah, definitely one of the most underrated coaching staffs in the league for sure. Now everybody's on notice. You do not want to play Washington right now. I don't think.
No.
At least if offensively, if you can't move the ball or score, good luck.
Yeah. The refs are 4-0. They just continue to just get after it. The Chiefs, I mean, they're hurt. Everyone on Pacheco's out. Rashee Rice is out. Hollywood Brown's not going to be back until the playoffs. But the only guy that can't get hurt on the team, he wears stripes, so he's never going to get hurt. He's going to be fine. They're going to be fine.
Oh God, the Chiefs, man. I don't know. I don't even know what to make of this team because they're 4-0, but nobody's playing good. Everybody's hurt. Kelsey had a big game finally. A little bit of Kelsey.
I mean, he's the only guy left.
They're going to have to rely on Kelsey.
Xavier Worthy.
I know there's a lot of rumors and talk about them getting a wide receiver. They need to fill that hole badly. They're not going to have any help. I know they got a couple guys like Juju Smith and other guys, but they don't have that guy. They need that guy back. They're missing a guy like that. So huge injury for them. Tough play. That play was unfortunate. Going to make the tackle and both going to make the tackle. Like the plays on the sideline, like it's not that big of a deal. You guys don't both need to like try your hardest to make that play. But unfortunate for the Chiefs. But I will say, of this weird 4-0 team, the defense giving up 18 points a game. It's crazy. I know that there might not even be a lot of big names. They do have all-pro cornerback. He's playing out of his mind out there. But they've now shut down kind of. I'll say kind of because they didn't really shut Lamar down. But they've beaten Burrow, Lamar, and now Justin Herbert. In my opinion, those are 3 of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league easily. And they're holding teams to 18 points a game. It's going to be scary if the offense gets it going. That's the biggest thing, is if the offense and this play calling gets it going. I know they got to fill some holes, but 18 points a game with the Chiefs defense and it's not like fluky. Lamar, Burrow, Herbert, like that's impressive.
Chris Jones is like under the radar defensive player of the year. I mean, he's
so good.
He's been playing out of his mind for the Chiefs D line, getting pressures, stuffing the run.
Dude,
he's been dominating.
Every play is like 95 is just causing problems everywhere. And the problem is they have other guys that do it that nobody knows of. Like you can't double team Chris all game.
Right.
But
let's talk about my Ravens. We get a big win on prime time. Let everybody know what's going on. We dominate the Bills. Derrick Henry runs wild. Keep giving him the ball. Offensive line struggled the first 2 weeks against the Chiefs and the Raiders, but they started to figure it out, which I like to see. Lamar Jackson doesn't have to be Superman every play, every game. We can give it to probably the best, I'm not going to say best running back, but pure runner in the NFL. Like Derrick Henry's outrunning DBs. He's like 37 years old, and the DBs can't catch up to him. Lamar throws for 2 touchdowns, runs 1 in. Defense played really well against Josh Allen. I mean, they've scored 30 points in back-to-back games. We don't let them score more than 10, I believe.
10, yeah.
Getting pressure on Josh Allen, defensive line looked really good, getting him out of the pocket. I mean, that's what he does well, is get out of the pocket and make good throws. But our defensive backs were playing well, making him throw like tough throws. I like what I saw in primetime. I like the mentality of the team. Like after the game, they were like, we didn't win the Super Bowl. Like we're on to Cincinnati. Let's keep working hard and getting after it. So we need to wear black also every game. Like that should be our uniforms, just all blacks.
The All Blacks are tough. I'm not going to lie. This was definitely the most impressive win of the weekend for sure. This is actually the first time that Allen hasn't thrown or run a touchdown since 2021. So very impressive from the Ravens defense. Definitely, great signs. A statement win. Y'all needed it. I know, you guys fall to 0-2 to start the season. It's question marks everywhere. It's panic city. And then y'all beat the Cowboys. Not convincingly. It should have been in 3 quarters, but then they kind of come back. But y'all win that and then route arguably the best team in the league, if not 1A, 1B to everyone. I think the Ravens could give teams problems. I think you guys have a ton of talent on this team, a ton of weapons. I think it's been mainly the coaching staff that's been the question this year. But y'all rely on the run. Derrick Henry is still running somewhere. That dude is a freak show. And
we finally finished a game,
right,
against the Raiders and against the Cowboys. Like in the second half, we kind of fall out. Like I thought about it on Sunday. Like Josh Allen makes that throw on the run. They score a touchdown. I'm like, here we go. Here it comes again. But then we just kept giving it to Derrick Henry, and they just couldn't stop it. So I think the Bills, I don't think they got exposed or anything, but they don't have that player other than Josh Allen that's going to make a play. Like Diggs is gone.
Yeah.
Like who is that player other than Josh Allen that's going to be for that offense? Like who is that guy going to be? Because I don't see one right now.
I will say I did watch a little bit of a breakdown of this game from on TikTok. Somebody break down the film. Allen actually played pretty poorly. Like he had open guys, not all the time. Y'all played good, but he had some plays left out there on the field that he didn't have. But yes, I agree with we said it earlier in the season. The wide receiver room is a bit of a question mark. He is getting the job done, but when they need it, they need a guy that can just kind of go out there and get it. Like it's hard to. The Chiefs are dealing with that. The Rams are dealing with that. So it's hard to move the ball when you don't have just that guy to kind of get out of jail free card, we'll say.
Let's move to Monday night. Last night, the Dolphins are panic mode. Mike McDaniel, I used to be high on this guy. His play calling, he's supposed to be this offensive genius. Like his play calling is horrible.
It's bad.
It was bad last night. Mason Rudolph comes in for the Titans, leads them to 7 scoring drives. They get their first win of the season. I don't know. Like, I don't know how this offense would even look good with Tua if Tua didn't even get hurt. Like, what would this team look like? I don't think it would be that good. The Dolphins have not led in a game all season. They have one win, which came on a walk-off field goal in week 1. They have not led in any game at all this season.
Yeah. The I don't even know. It is panic mode. I'm not sure what to really. It's kind of like the Jags. Like, I don't even know what the move is forward here. The play calling is so bad. Tyreek Hill catches 4 passes in this game. We're just talking about coming into this week that there's no Tua, backup quarterbacks. They love to feed the guys when the Steelers when Ben Roethlisberger got hurt and guys like Mike Vick or Mason Rudolph or other guys came in, we were giving 84 the ball. Like, it was, I don't care if he was triple team. We were finding ways to get your playmakers the ball. How is Tyreek Hill catching 4 passes in this game? And apparently there's only one guy on the planet that can run this offense. And apparently he gets his head scanned every other week, unfortunately, for Tua. But he might be the only guy that can run this offense. So, like you said, Mike McDaniel's supposed to be an offensive guru. I was the same way. I was high on Mike McDaniels. They're a playoff team. They look good. They're making good moves in the last couple of years. And now, obviously, it's unfortunate that they lose their starting quarterback. But we've seen Flacco coming in against us, the best defense in the league. There's guys that can come in and win games. Literally, the other team they played had this happen.
Even if Tua doesn't get hurt, I still don't think this offense is clicking this year. Like, they were down 2 scores to the Jags week 1. They come back and kick a field goal to win it.
Yeah.
They were getting dominated by the Bills in week 1 when Tua was in the first half.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if this team would even be good with Tua.
Yeah. I heard somebody say that they have just too much, it's funny. They were saying that Mike McDaniel's too cool. There's no button up. There's no laser focused energy out there in Miami. And I think I can kind of agree with that. There's a lot of noise on that team, but not taking anything away from the other team that did win this game, even though the Dolphins do fall 1-3 and 2 losses at home, 2 big losses at home, not good. But Tennessee looked good, man. They looked good. Their defense looked really good. They finally get a win. And I will say, scoring 31 points without throwing a touchdown in 2024 is quite impressive. Like you said, Rudolph did lead them to 7 scoring drives. I know a couple field goals, but a lot on the ground. But man, the Titans could have just kind of folded this game up. Even if they end up winning, it could have been close because the problems that Miami's having with injuries and stuff. But they come out and they dominate, man. It didn't matter who was in that quarterback. Levis still needs to figure some stuff out. He's still making a little bit of goofy plays. That interception, he's on the sideline. He says he doesn't even see. He didn't see the 300-pound defensive lineman in teal right in front of him. We gotta figure some stuff out. But big win for the Titans. They get their win.
I'm not going to give any credit to the Titans.
All right, bet. So moving on.
Because that was all on Miami. I could have pulled together a team from the street. I could have went around my neighborhood, gathered 11 guys, and we could have the way the offense played for Miami. There's no way you don't kick 7 field goals because you have the ball the whole game.
Yeah,
it was bad from Miami, man. It was so bad,
very bad.
The next game, doubleheader last night. Jared Goff, 18 for 18 with 292 yards, 2 touchdowns. He caught a reception for a touchdown from Amon-Ra St. Brown. He set an NFL record for the most passes without a completion in an NFL game. The previous record was it was 10 for 10 from, who was it? Oh, shit, I remember the stat. Never mind. I don't remember, but it's okay. 10 for 10 was the previous record. Goff goes 18 for 18.
Crazy.
In a great game.
Yeah. I had that great game on Monday night. I watched this one, obviously. I only watched the Doo-Doo Caca Bowl for, up until this game time. But the new Lions, because it used to be the same old Lions or the same old Lions. But this is the new Lions or the same old new Lions. They did have that little lull against Tampa Bay, but they bounced, back. They looked good the last 2 weeks. Yeah, I credit to Seattle. I'm not gonna say that it wasn't a good game from them. And it's a tough place to play out there in Detroit right now. And they had the opportunities to win this game. I'm not gonna say I hate kind of blaming the refs, but they did get kind of shafted in this game a little bit. They have the bad call on the Lockett play. They have DK Metcalf who catches a touchdown, his knees down, has possession. They call it not a touchdown. unfortunate stuff from Seattle, but they do battle in this game. It was a great game, great back and forth. Geno showing that he is just not some fluke. He's going to put points up on the board. Unfortunately for Seattle, it was a little bit of a lull defensively. They've been one of the better teams defensively or on defense in the league this year. But while it is a tough place to play and a good team, they were missing five of their top pass rushers in this game on the D line. So big loss for them, in that aspect going into that game. So that was a huge factor. I think if Seattle's fully healthy defensively in that game, it's a little bit different. I don't think they maybe win on the road in Detroit, but it's definitely a little bit closer. But they still have their opportunities to win. But overall, those are two really good teams in the NFC. Both are 3-1. I loved watching that game. That was a lot of fun, in my opinion.
Oh, sorry. That stat was Kurt Warner went 10 for 10. That was the previous record. I just had to look that up and clear that up. Kurt Warner held the previous record. It's now Jared Goff.
Kurt Warner. Shout out to our stat guy for pulling that up for us. Let's move on to our week 4 results. Not a good week for your boy here. Let's pull up this
as well.
Let's pull up the schedule. So I go 7-9. I move to 37-27. Jason has another 500 week. 8-8 moves to 32-32. Let's break some of these down. Thursday Night Football. I think we both picked the Cowboys. We win that one.
Yep.
Moving on to the divisional matchup, I picked the New Orleans Saints. I believed in the 2-0 start. I lose that one. Did you pick Kirk?
I picked the Falcons. Yeah, I had the Falcons.
Yeah, so we split on this one, unfortunately.
Yeah, we both, I believe, had the Panthers upsetting the Bengals because it's just for the memes.
I said I wasn't going to pick another a team that didn't have a win, so I stuck to it. I don't care.
So we both lose on that one, and I believe we both had the Rams beating the Bears as well.
Yes.
So we both lose on that one as well, and then we split on the next game. You had the Vikings, I had the Packers.
I'm a believer.
The Vikings hold on and get a big dub on the road.
Yeah, and then I had Houston in this game. I think we both had Houston. Unfortunately for the Jags, they fall to winless on the season. And then move into the next game. I'm never picking my Steelers again. They lose. I had them. Did you have the Steelers?
I had the Colts. No, I pick against the Steelers every week, and finally got one.
That's fair. So that's fair. So we split on that one, and then this game.
Yeah, we both
was
lost.
horrible. We both lose.
That's a bad loss.
Yeah, I take the Jets. You take the Jets. The Broncos decide to go 2-0 in the last 2 games. I don't care.
The Bucks. I think we were on different sides on this one as well. I had the
Philly.
Bucks. You had the Eagles. So I get that one, and then I picked the Cardinals. You were on the Cardinals as well in this one, right?
I picked Arizona, and I think we both deserve to lose this one because we don't pick the hot
Yeah, I mean, on the road, that's a huge win for the Commanders on the road.
14 points is holding Arizona at home. Crazy.
And
go
ahead.
Next game. We got the game I didn't actually watch at all, but I did say that the 49ers would put a beat down.
Did this game even happen? I don't even know. Is there a broadcast of this game? I don't even know.
Does this game aired on television in places? I don't know. I think San Francisco won big here, and I predicted
it was like 30-14, I think.
Yeah.
The Patriots, I think, are the worst team in the NFL. Like, Jags, I know, are 0-4, but I think the Patriots are the worst team.
It's tough with the new coach. I just knew that this was going to be a coaching mismatch. Like, this was prep.
It's a personnel mismatch as well.
Yeah, this is a better organization at the moment than this one. Very bad. But then next, we move on to the Taylor Swift backup dancers go into LA and beat the Chargers. Again, big loss for the Chiefs, but overall they get the win. They move on to 4-0. I was right on this one. Did you have the Chiefs?
Yeah, I had the Chiefs.
Yeah. Okay. And then did this game happen too? I don't remember this one, but the Browns go into Vegas and lose. I picked Cleveland. I'm never doing that again. Mark it down
as well.
He picked Cleveland. He's never doing that again. And
Nick Chubb's back. We'll see.
Oh, well, maybe. Yeah, I'll probably pick them next week, and then they'll lose. So that's fun.
And then my Ravens get a win. Of course, I picked the Ravens. You had the Bills in this
I
one.
did have the Bills. They were looking good, and they just no.
I was nervous for this one, so
yeah.
But the Ravens get a win. And then I believe we were both on the Dolphins in this game.
I had Tennessee.
Oh, you had Tennessee? Nice.
Yes.
I don't think I had the Dolphins.
Yeah,
with Snoop.
instantly regretting that.
I'll never pick the Dolphins again.
There was a game where I said you would regret choosing a team, and I don't remember who it was. And I think it was this game, but I think could be wrong.
Probably.
I'll have to look
I
back.
do regret it.
I'll have to look back at that other episode.
And then we both had the Lions on Monday night against the Seahawks.
Yes.
So that gives us that I'm 8-8. You were 7-9.
This is actually close.
5 games ahead, pretty much.
It's close though. 37, 27, and 32. And 32.
It takes 1 week.
I had a bad week. This was a bad week. I mean, I honestly, I got a couple of breaks. Like New Orleans losing on a game, the field goal that should have kind of went my way. What else should have happened? I mean, I don't even know. Buffalo looks like doo-doo.
Let's go Buffalo.
Pittsburgh, like, come on, guys. That's our NFL recap, though, of a crazy weekend. Love what's been going on in the NFL. It's a lot. It's a lot of stuff going on. But let's move on to
let's talk some college ball,
some college football.
Let's go over our Week 5 pick results from the college games. We had a couple ranked matchups. We had Oklahoma State takes a big loss against Kansas.
Ooh, Matt.
We both had Oklahoma State in this one. We both hold an L. And then Louisville goes to Notre Dame. I was on the Fighting Irish. You were on the Cardinals.
If you lose to Northern Illinois, like you're not going to. I mean, I don't care. I'll take that L. I'm taking that one like a man.
And then Oklahoma, you got the win on this one. I had Auburn. I really thought for most of the game, Auburn looked like they were going to win, but
this was a crazy game.
Over is never going to get you a dub. So
no. That was a crazy game. Oklahoma, really quick, goes into their first SEC game with a true freshman quarterback and wins big on the road. Big win for Oklahoma. That was a great game. Great watch for the SEC. Like we said last week, Auburn is not an easy place to play. I don't care if they don't have a win on the schedule or the record. That is a tough environment to go in and play, but the true freshman goes in and gets the job done. Good win for Oklahoma. They're making a push, in maybe the college football playoff. We'll see.
And then Illinois comes back down to earth. Penn State gets a nice win against Illinois. Penn State kind of like under the radar. I mean, not really under the radar. They're ranked 9th in the country. I don't think they changed. I don't really. We'll review the new top 25, but they were ranked 9th, kind of under the radar. That's a good football team.
I think it's just because like Ohio State and Oregon are kind of leading,
the
Big Ten right now. And Michigan, while still being similar in rank to Penn State, they're very close. I think just Michigan is always talked about more just because of the national championship win. They lose Harbaugh. They're in the noise more. But I agree. Penn State just quietly at 9 winning games. I like them a lot this year.
And then the most banana land game of all time, Georgia and Alabama. We were both on Alabama. We get that win somehow, some way. We'll break that game down right after this.
Yeah, quick thoughts. This is just the craziest game I've ever seen in my life. And I said they were going to win big, and for about 30 minutes, I was looking. Yeah. I was on cloud 9. I'm texting all my friends. If they watch this episode, I don't care. I'll stand on business. I'll talk about it a little bit. But I was texting everybody. I was texting all my friends that get Carson Beck out of there, transfer portal him. Like this team
Repo is Lambo. I saw a bunch of tweets like Repo is Lambo.
Kirby Smart, like Alabama has the deed of ownership to Georgia, like the pink slip. I was going crazy at halftime, but those are our picks anyway. Yeah. We'll get into that.
They both go 3-2.
I think we tied last week too, right?
Last 2 weeks we've both been tied. Well, we both go 3-2. You're 15-12 on the year. I'm 17-10.
This is closer.
Close as well.
This is closer than it was looking to start the year. I was doing bad. But
I haven't even looked at the matchups for this week, but hopefully we can get some good ones up there.
Just to preview, guys, for the October 12th weekend, might be one of the best college football weekends
we'll have
of all time.
7 or 8 games to pick from there.
Yeah. But those are our picks. Again, it's close. Excited for – I'm glad both of the results have been closer as far as record. But let's talk college football week 5 recap as a whole. We're going to start out with the Twilight Zone episode that happens. Georgia goes into Alabama, okay? They go into Alabama. I call it they're going to lose big. Carson Beck, I just don't think he's going to get the job done. Jalen Milroe and the boys, the young buck at receiver, they're going to run around and score points. And guess what, guys? It looked like pretty dang true for about 30 minutes. They go up 28-0, I think, or 7, one of the two at halftime. They can't not score every time they touch the ball. Carson Beck looks like he's throwing. It looks like they have 18 people out there on defense when he's got the ball. They have no idea what's going on. It looks like it's over at halftime.
Bloodbath. Jalen Milroe becomes a Heisman favorite at halftime of the game.
In 30 minutes, it's like, give him the trophy. We don't even need him. Like, who cares about the rest of the season? At halftime, he has 200 yards in the air, a touchdown, an interception that should have never happened. They were going to go in and score again. He has 2 touchdowns on the ground, 106 yards. This guy is he's just dominating at all phases. But then we get to halftime, and I don't know what happened. All I know is that Nick Saban should have marched his ass down into that locker room and said, boys, this isn't good enough. We wanted a shutout. We don't have one. If Nick Saban's that coach, this is a completely different football game, ladies and gentlemen, but it's not. It's a new coaching staff for Alabama, and they come out at halftime, and they look like the Ravens in the first couple of weeks. What is going on?
Like, I don't know. I think, like, it's just overall in football, just like you have the big – I feel like it's hard to play with a big lead. Like, I think the offense, like the team that's down, it's like we don't have anything to lose at this point. Like, we could go lose by 50. So we might as well just, like, put it all on the table, and then they just start cooking, and then they get back into the game. I don't – like, even the Vikings. The Vikings, the best team in the NFL. They almost blew the game to the Packers.
It's the same scoreline, 28. Like, but the thing I have on here, I was going to come into this game at halftime. I texted this guy, guys, and I was like, oh, Carson Beck is going to get it. I'm going to go on an unheard of rant about Carson Beck, and it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. But I'm going to go on a little mini rant because it wasn't all that bad. He did throw for 400 yards. He had 50%. I get it. He threw for a lot of yards. Guys, listen to me right now. I was told on Saturday night that I don't know football. I don't know ball. TikTok brains keep telling me I don't know ball. I don't know what I'm talking about. Listen, if you throw 50 times in a football game, if you throw 50 times and you don't throw for 350 yards plus, you would even be worse. This guy had a 50% completion percentage. That has to be like 80% lower than the league average in the country. He throws 3 interceptions, guys. They dropped 2 of them. One of them is a walk-in pick 6, guys. He has now had 6 total dropped interceptions against Alabama. That should be 11 total in 2 games. Yes, he threw for 400 yards. Yes, he had 3 touchdowns. And yes, he did. I will say the positive about Carson Beck, he looked very poised in the second half. And he took advantage of what I'll get into in a second here, and I think you're going to touch on, is a ultimate collapse from the Alabama coaching staff. But overall, he did not play good in this game. 400 yards does not mean anything. Again, like I said earlier in this episode, when you are down a lot in the first half and then you end the game with a lot of yards, I've seen Ben Roethlisberger do this a lot of times. It's just because you didn't get the job done in the first half. I know that there's 4 quarters to play, but when you're down 28-7, by gosh, you're not going to come out and run the ball 80 times for Georgia. I know he threw for a lot of yards, but 3 interceptions, the game-sealing interception, and they should have had 2 more. One of them was a pick 6 easily. That's not good. I'm not sold on Carson Beck. Kentucky played horrible. He did not play good in this game. Sure, 400 yards. If you're a Georgia fan and you're happy about that performance, hey, kudos to you. Great job. But let me roast this Bama coaching staff because I think you're going to touch on this as well. What are we doing in the second half of this football game? If you want to come out and say, first of all, if I was the athletic director of Bama and I was the booster club and everybody, I would say it would be a requirement for this entire coaching staff to come onto a press conference and explain.
I need an answer still. Why are we the only people talking about this? I
don't
heard
know
anything from anybody.
I don't know. Like, I texted you. I called you. I think you called me. I was like, they need to be questioned and immediately. Like, and here's the thing. Here's the thing that you have to understand. For all the Georgia fans saying like, "Oh, we played well and Carson Beck played well," listen to me. If this was actually going to end up being worse than the Falcons collapse, because at least you could say for the Falcons Super Bowl, they did come out and try and chew the clock. They're snapping the ball with 5 seconds left on the clock, 3 seconds left on the clock. What is Bama doing whether it's a run or a pass? They're snapping the ball with 20 plus seconds left on the clock. And in any point in the second half, it didn't matter if it was early in the third quarter or late in the fourth quarter when they're up by 5 with 3 minutes left, 2 minutes left in the game. Why are you snapping the ball with 20 plus seconds left? And not only that, you took the game out of the best player on the field's hands. Why? This guy threw for like 21 passes in the first half and almost 200 yards. He finishes the game with 300 and something, and I think he had like 12 attempts in the second half. Why is he not throwing the ball? The whole first half, Georgia couldn't stop the pass. It was wide. Every time he threw the ball, it was wide open players everywhere. Why are you coming out and taking the ball out of number 4's hands? I don't know. Anyway, but overall, the coaching staff, you have to answer for what on earth you're doing in the second half of this game. And like I said, I tweeted this, but if this was a Nick Saban coaching staff, this game was 65-17 easily. Easily. This is a lull to me. I'm actually like, I don't even know how to feel about this. It didn't even feel like a good win for Alabama, in my opinion. Like, it looked like it was going to be, and then they come out and just caca in their pants.
I thought the fix was in for this game.
Vegas.
I thought Vegas. Like, I need to talk about the clock management and in the fourth quarter, because I'm a sports bettor. I bet on sports, and I'm usually on the other side of the narrative that sports are rigged for money and Vegas. Like, I'm usually on the other side of that argument, but holy shit that I almost start to believe that this shit is rigged.
What's happening?
If Georgia would have won that game, like right now, I would be talking about how sports are rigged.
Yeah.
The first three drives for Alabama in the fourth quarter all ended in punts. All of those drives combined burnt 7 minutes and 40 seconds off the clock. They got a first down on the second drive, and that only cooked 2 minutes and 32 seconds off the clock after getting a first down. Like you said, they were snapping the ball with 20 seconds left on the game clock. I was sitting on my couch. My jaw was on the floor watching this game. Georgia, like Alabama's running plays, snapping the ball with 20 seconds left on the clock. Georgia's getting the ball, driving down the field in 3 plays, scoring touchdowns in 1:30. You come out, pass the ball the next play. Like, what I was surely convinced that this game was rigged.
No, like they were getting, like, in the headset of the offense coordinator in the booth was literally getting calls from Vegas saying, if y'all win this game by 40 points, we're gonna
how do you have a 6-play drive in the fourth quarter when you're up by 5 points and only kill 2 minutes and 32 seconds off the clock? How is that possible?
They were like running to the ball, like they are in a 2-minute offense. And the thing is, like, they would get to the line and then they would fake call play and then they'd look to the sideline, and then, like, in Milroe's headset should be, this is the play. There's 14 seconds left. There's 20 seconds left. Don't snap the ball. But he would get the play, look, snap. Like, what is happening? And then, let alone taking the game completely out of number 4's hands. I don't understand what like, again, this is more on Alabama as a bad, like, look, in my opinion, as a coaching staff than anything else. Like, this game should have literally been 42-17 easily. Like, easily. Let alone, like, they could do that just off of running the clock. Their defense comes out, they get a safety, and then they punt the ball back, like, in 2 seconds.
I still don't know what happened. I don't know how that even happens. How do you not kill clock there?
I don't know.
Like, when I played 8-10 Pee-wee football, we would kill the clock if we were winning in the fourth quarter. Like, I don't understand what was happening. I literally thought the game was rigged. I literally thought the game was rigged for Georgia to come back and win.
No, like, I literally tweeted and texted you. I was like, this game is fixed. Like, this is literally a fixed game. They're snapping the ball with 25 seconds left. And it doesn't matter if you come out in the second half and you're throwing the ball or running the ball. Why are you they're like running to the ball after each play like it's a 2-minute offense.
I still don't know what happened. I feel like we're the only people talking about that. Like, I haven't seen anything on this. Like, why are they not killing the clock?
Their coaching staff.
Like, is someone, like, from the FBI from Vegas going to knock on my door after we post this? Because, like, this game was fixed. If Ryan Williams doesn't catch that 75-yard touchdown and Georgia wins, I don't even know. Like, what was that?
That was the craziest game I've ever seen. Like, the second half, like I said, like, Georgia, they played well, but, like, what? And it wasn't like their defense played good. Like, they played decent, but, like, it wasn't like they were making unbelievable plays. Alabama just is, like, calling the worst second half I've ever seen in my life. Like they went away completely.
The first drive of the fourth quarter, Alabama punts to Georgia. Georgia has a 3-play drive. They go score a touchdown, and then their offense comes out and look like they're running a 2-minute offense to go score when they're up by 15 points. Like, what happened?
Literally, the entire Alabama coaching staff turns into Dan Quinn and the Falcons of 2016, and they were just like, hey, how can we blow this game?
I don't get it. Of course, I had Alabama money line, but that's besides the point. Like, it doesn't matter.
Of course, the 1 week I say anything about Georgia and this garbage quarterback to all my friends, after going down 28-0, they come back because Alabama decides that they're going to just keep this game close for some reason. Like,
Right.
I don't know. Anyway,
let's move on, I guess.
Let's move on to Kentucky. Kentucky goes into Ole Miss and wins a wild one. Another wild game. This game can be summed up pretty much in the last quarter of this. The fourth quarter was bananas land in Ole Miss. So much bend but don't break defense. A lot of field goals, a lot of missed field goals. But the both teams, Ole Miss fumbles the ball in Kentucky territory. This was late in the third quarter, I believe. We're not in the fourth quarter yet, but they're going in. They're in scoring territory. Then they fumble. A big fumble, and then Kentucky. Now we're moving to the fourth quarter. Kentucky in their own territory. 4 minutes left in the game. It's 4th and 7 on their own 21. Everybody's thinking, all right, they're not going to snap the ball. They're going to come out, try and draw an offsides, maybe get it to like a 4th and 1.5, and then they can make. No, he snaps the ball. Not only does he snap the ball, they said, screw the 7 yards we need. We're going with a one-on-one ball to the outside on 4th and 7, game on the line on your own 21, and they convert. Trey Harris catches it 50-plus yards. That wasn't Trey Harris. That was Ole Miss. We'll get to that. But they convert on 4th and 7 for a huge gain. Then, coming back to the other team, Ole Miss calls a 4th down in there they were at the 50-yard line. It wasn't in their territory, but they call a 4th down. They get a big play, 50-plus yards on 4th and 7. Jackson Dart throws a beautiful throw. Crazy calls from both teams, but the Kentucky play, that 4th down and wherever they were, or however long it was, that's the play of the game in my opinion. But Ole Miss 17-13 in this game late. That's when Kentucky calls from their own 21-yard line. That's the huge conversion. It's like 70 yards. That's the play of the game for me. Then they have the go-ahead touchdown. Okay, this was after the conversion. In their go-ahead touchdown, they come in, they bring a new quarterback in. They throw the normal quarterback out wide, and they run a read option. And it's a good play. He's running to his left. It's a good play call. Here's the problem. Ole Miss defender hits the ball, pops out, a little jack-in-the-box play. He's going in to score. Ball's out, fumble. The tight end's looking at this ball like it's a present from Santa. It lands in his hands. He's like, oh, wow, this is great. He dives in. Kentucky goes ahead here on a crazy play. So there's like 4 possessions that are just like unbelievable. We got 2 4th down conversions, one from Ole Miss, one from Kentucky. That's the play of the game. Then they score. It's not over, though. Ole Miss gets the ball back with chances to win. Jackson Dart drives down the field. They get into field goal range to tie the game. And unfortunately for Ole Miss, the kicker misses the game-tying field goal. I will give credit to Ole Miss with all the stuff going on. The 4th down they give up to Kentucky, the fumble they had as well on the offense, and then the fumble they caused, which ends up going into Kentucky's hands for a touchdown. With all that being said, they still drive down the field, get into opportunity to tie the game, but unfortunately they don't. Honestly, this is a heartbreaking loss for Ole Miss, in my opinion, at home, obviously. The game was won for them. That's 4th down on Kentucky's own 21-yard line, and they give up a 70-yard play. Then, not only that, they have an opportunity after all this shenanigans, this Looney Tune episode, to tie the game and send it into overtime. But unfortunately for Ole Miss and the Rebels, they don't. But I do want to touch on really quick Kentucky's defense. Are they the best defense in the country? They're giving up 13.4 a game. Mind you, one of those was giving up like a bunch of points to, I forget what team it was, but they're giving up 13.4 a game. And then 2 of the last 3 weeks, they played number 5 Georgia, who they held to 13 points. Then they played number 12 now, Ole Miss. They hold them to 17 points. They hold Carson Beck in that offense 160 yards, no touchdowns from Carson Beck. And then Jackson Dart, he did throw for quite a bit with 261, but only 1 touchdown. Kentucky's defense, man. low for him. Kentucky's defense playing out of their mind. And honestly, they're a pick 6 away from Georgia to being 4-1 on the season in the SEC. Kentucky's a little bit of a sleeper team. They're just going to battle. Crazy game.
Play everyone great.
Crazy game.
I didn't watch that game, but
that fourth down call, unbelievable from Kentucky. I mean, they just literally took their nuts and put them on the table. You're calling a 4th and 7 one-on-one ball on your own 21-yard line with 4 minutes left in the game. He said, "Why not? One-on-one ball. We don't care about nothing." That was amazing game. Amazing game.
Another surprise, honestly. Colorado goes into UCF and dominates in their house.
Yeah.
Big win for Colorado. I think the key to victory here is Shedeur didn't have to carry this team to a win. They had some success on the ground, which is rare for Colorado. They had 128 yards, which isn't a lot for a normal college football team, but for Colorado, that's pretty good. Their defense forced 4 turnovers. That's why they won by 27 points when they were 17-point underdogs going into that game. And also because they have Travis Hunter. He helps your team win. He had 9 catches for 89 yards as a receiver and a touchdown and an interception on defense. That was the first game where Buffalo wins the game and Shedeur threw for under 300 yards. Playing good defense and running the football, taking the pressure off Shedeur is how Colorado can win football games and not have to rely on Shedeur to throw for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. Dominated Central Florida. That's a huge win for the Buffaloes. Honestly, that's the best game. I think that's the best game I've ever seen them play in the prime era at Colorado.
Yeah, big win. I mean, I just my thoughts because I didn't really watch this game at all, but just Hunter, man, that dude is a freak.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to say Heisman should win it, but good Lord.
I think right now he's third betting favorite to win.
Two-way player, like he's doing. It's crazy what he's doing, but.
Let's look at the new top 25 power rankings AP poll in college football. We have some movement this week.
A little bit of movement. We got a new number 1, Jason. We got a new number 1, and that is the Bama Crimson.
I'm pissed about that.
They move up 3 spots. They move up to number 1. Honestly, I would agree with this more if they didn't, if the second half didn't happen. I would agree. They move up to 1. They move up 3 spots. The new 4, we've had the same 4 teams in the top 4 up until this week, and this changes with it's now Bama at 1, Texas at 2, Ohio State at 3, and now Tennessee, the Volts, are in the 4 spot. Jason, any thoughts on this? Georgia bumps out of the top 4. They move to 5.
No, I think this is right. I mean, I don't know about Texas moving out of the number 1 spot. Like if Alabama was at 2 and Texas was at 1, I would be like, okay. But I think, beating Georgia, I think Alabama might deserve that number 1 spot. But either way, if Texas was 1, if it were switched, I'd be okay with either one. But I think this top 5 is right.
Yeah, the only thing I don't agree with is Bama at 1. I think they should be 2. I don't think Texas has done anything to waver them as the number 1 team in the country, honestly. And I think what's helping their cause is that second half from Bama and the way it panned out.
Yeah,
for them. Like
I think the Red River rivalries this week, Texas Oklahoma. If Texas wins big, I don't know if Quinn Ewers is back yet. We'll see. But if Texas puts it on Oklahoma, Alabama has Vanderbilt, so they should obviously win that game easily. But if Texas has a convincing win over Oklahoma, I think they could bounce back in the number 1 spot.
Yeah. Let's look at 5 through 12. This is obviously our playoff kind of, temperature gauge, obviously, except for one of these teams would be out. But we have Georgia at 5. Obviously, they fall 3 spots. Unfortunate for them, but they do have that gauntlet coming up. Excuse me. But we will see, how that kind of pans out for them. Then we got Oregon moving up 2 spots, Penn State moving up 2 spots. Miami falls to number 1. My Hurricanes, they fall 1 spot. Should have lost, by the way, to Virginia Tech. That was a touchdown at the end.
Crazy game.
Unfortunate for them, crazy game. We'll get into that a little bit. Missouri moves up 2 spots. Michigan moves up 2 spots. USC moves up 2 spots. And Ole Miss rounds out the 12. falling 6 spots. Any thoughts on this one?
I think Michigan is too high. Honestly, I know they rose up because Ole Miss drops and who else dropped? Utah dropped. So that's the only reason they moved up. But they escaped Minnesota. They won by 3. They almost blew that lead. I think Michigan. I think they're going to lose a few more games and probably drop out of the top 12 ish here soon. They don't have the offensive firepower to be a top 10 team. But I guess right now they deserve to be there for barely beating Minnesota. But other than that, Missouri, they didn't play this week. Like 2 weeks ago, they beat Vanderbilt by 3. They're kind of on fraud alert. They have a big game against Texas A&M, so we'll know a lot more about Missouri after this week.
Yeah, I think Ole Miss falling 6 is kind of crazy. Like, I know they lost at home to Kentucky, but that game was literally won for Ole Miss. Like, they gave up a 4th and 7 on their own, on the opposing team's 21-yard line with only 4 minutes left. And then they caused a fumble on the goal line. Unfortunate bounce for them, but like they fumbled also on a weird hit. Like Ole Miss, I know they lost, but like they didn't lose by 40. They honestly should have won this game. And with all of that craziness, they still have a game-tying field goal opportunity. And in my opinion, I think if they get into overtime, I think they win that game at home.
Yeah.
So falling 6 spots is kind of crazy. I still think Ole Miss. I think personally Michigan. I know you have them a little bit too high, but I think those two teams are still better than Missouri. Missouri has not shown anything for them to be at 9.
I think Ole Miss is better than 11 through 9. I think they should be. I don't think they should be 9 right now, but I think if Ole Miss will beat Missouri, they'd beat Michigan and they beat USC.
I agree. I think they should. I personally think Ole Miss should still be. I think they should be 9. I don't think they fall 6 spots. I think they should just fall to 9. And then everyone else, I'm okay with in this spot. Oregon and Penn State, 2 Big Ten teams that are quiet at 6 and 7, and they're winning games. So
yeah.
But overall, I think that's pretty
horrible.
fair.
Yeah.
Now, and then 13, we got 13 through all the way to 25. We got LSU overrated, still sitting there. Notre Dame. Here's let me say this really quick. The reason I don't love how the 12-team playoff is kind of panning out right now is because a team that loses to Northern Illinois should not be at anywhere sniffing the college football playoff. Like, in my opinion, I don't think Notre Dame should be at 14. I know that they're 4-1. I know they kind of handled business this week too. But like, come on, man. Like come on. But anyway. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Utah, they fall 8 spots. They're at 18. Louisville falls 7 spots. They're at 22. And Illinois falls 5 spots. Like you said, they kind of fall down and face plant back to earth. Any thoughts on this really quick?
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with the Notre Dame take, but I mean, it's I don't know.
Northern
that game
Illinois
against Northern. I know it's Northern Illinois, but it's like any given Saturday, your team doesn't show up. I mean, they lose by what? I don't even remember what they lost by, 2 points.
I think it was like 3 or something.
But they've had good win. They handled Texas A&M. They handled Louisville. I think their wins. They don't overcome the loss to NIU, but they have good wins against good teams. Other than they've lost to a bad team. But they have good wins against good teams.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I want to touch on here is Utah.
Yeah,
Utah falls to.
Well, I mean, they don't think, but their quarterback is softer than I don't even know.
No, they fall 8 spots. So you're at the top ranked of the Big 12, right? You're at the top ranked of the Big 12. You host Oklahoma State last week. You get a big win with a backup quarterback, and you hold probably the best running back in the country, arguably, to a very low game, and you win. Listen, like Cam Rising, like you're 40 years old, bro. Like you gotta play. I know it's on your throwing hand. Is your hand off? Like, did it get detached from your body, or did you break every bone in your hand? Probably not. You need to play football, brother. Like you gotta play football. Like Utah, like season might have just come down to you being a baby. Like literally, they fall to 18th. Obviously, they're still probably up there in record for the Big 12, but like. You're at 18th now, and you really can't afford another lull game, in my opinion. and it's back-to-back weeks of your like your hand hurts. Like, bro, what? And your team loses because of that. That's crazy to me. If I was like a senior on that team and I was on like defense or offense and like we fall 8 spots because your hand hurts, like, bro, it's your throwing hand. I don't care. Numb that shit up and tape it. Like, come on, bro. Yeah. That's my biggest gripe right now of that 13 through 25. Utah should not be at 18. They're a good team.
No. Cam Rising is, I mean, I don't know. He hasn't played like barely any football games in the past 2 years. Like all of last season, he was pretty much hurt too.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just they just need to get another guy in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Because he can't even play next year anyway, but it's just tough.
He's like 40 years old, bro. Actually, he's 12.
Yeah. I mean, BYU might be an actual football team.
They're 5-0.
They are 5-0. They have good wins. They have a good win against Kansas State. They just beat Baylor. They're 2-0 in the Big 12. That's a good football team.
They're making win. That's why Utah's loss is like huge.
Yeah.
It's really, I mean, it's not good. Isn't Iowa State in there too? Aren't they?
Iowa State is the Big 12. They didn't play this week. I don't think they only have a big game. They've won against Iowa.
They beat Iowa, yeah.
Other than that, they haven't really played anyone. But I mean, they haven't lost. They're there. So
yeah. I don't know. I just that loss for Utah is that's unfortunate for them, for like the seniors and stuff on that team. But
yeah. Also Indiana in the Big Ten. Their offense is good.
Yeah, they are.
Their offense is good.
Yeah, they are.
I like Indiana. They kind of a sleeper team here. Who do they have next? What does it say on there? They, Northwestern. They should win that game. I mean, they'll be 6-0.
A little team to watch out for out there in Indiana. Not much going on other than that.
No, that's it. Yeah, Kansas State gets a bounce back win. They're back in the
they move up. Top 20. Them and Boise State move up 3 and 4 spots.
Yeah, nice.
Coming down to like the end of the year, the who gets in for like that 11, 10 spots like is going to be interesting.
Yeah,
Clemson's still around. Like they haven't played, but interesting. We'll see.
Nice. All right, what do we got next here? Some over/under reactions. Here we go.
All right, I'm gonna start off with. I heard this on the Pat McAfee show. I've been seeing it on Twitter. I think I'll give my take on it, but Jay, are your Ravens the best team in the NFL at 2-2?
I don't think this is an overreaction, but I think it's an underreaction. Like the obvious answer to the best team in the NFL is the Vikings. That's the best team in the NFL through 4 weeks. But I mean, we're so close to being 3-1 and just dominating. We just dominated the Bills. Could I make an argument for we're the best team in the NFL? Yes, but I don't think it's an overreaction. I don't think it's an underreaction either. I think it's just a reaction. Like, yeah, we could be the best team in the NFL.
I mean, you got to kind of pick one, though.
I mean, then I'll pick an underreaction. But we're not the best team in the NFL, but it's not an overreaction to say that.
I think it is. 2-2, I think we need to pump the brakes.
A 2-2, like the record, it obviously doesn't say it, but
right.
Like, are the Chiefs the best team in the NFL? They don't look like it.
I mean, Minnesota definitely is, in my opinion.
Like, I could pick 10 teams right now that I'd probably pick over the Chiefs.
That's crazy.
Maybe not 10 teams. Probably 5. Probably okay. 5 teams.
Five's probably fair.
All right. Are the Commanders going to win the NFC East? Over or under reaction?
I mean, they're 3-1. I think they're leading that division right now. Dallas, like, I don't know what they are. I know they beat the Giants. There's a divisional game. The Giants, who cares about them? The Eagles and the Cowboys are kind of question marks. I think this is an underreaction, which is crazy because they have a rookie quarterback. Again, it's showing signs of a young RG3 2.0. I like it. I think it's an underreaction. I'm on board. I'm a Commander. I am a fan of the Commanders.
And up. I don't even know what they say.
We are Commanders, is what they say. That's all they say. I like them. I like them a lot. I think that this is a bit of an underreaction. I actually would not be shocked if they end up winning that garbage division yet again.
We'll see.
All right, Jason, I have a question after this freaking Looney Tunes Fairy Tale Twilight Zone episode we watched. Does Alabama win? This is a big one. Does Alabama win the national championship with first-year head coach Kalen DeBoer? They might have the Heisman winner, dude.
Jalen Milroe looks good. If they didn't just fall apart in the second half, I'm going to still say this is an underreaction.
Wow.
I think they definitely can. It wouldn't be a surprise if Alabama goes and wins the national championship. I wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, I didn't see that coming. They definitely could do that. I think it's going to be interesting. I would like them more. I would say I'm more confident if it was a 4-team playoff. But now the 12-team playoff, we're going to see how that works out. Who's going to get hot at the end of the year? Can Alabama continue to play like they did in the first half, I guess, throughout the entire season? But I'm going to say underreaction. I think they can do it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Are the Saints fraudulent? What was the first 2 weeks? Are they a real team, or are they just a 2-week wonder?
This is a good question. I think this is a slight overreaction, actually. I think them being 2-0 to start the year and the way they won, honestly, if you break down these last 2 games that they fall to, they easily could have won at least one of these, if not both of these. Atlanta scores 2 touchdowns on defense. Personally, I think this is a bit of an overreaction. I will say they are kind of falling into the Philadelphia trap where, yes, it might be an overreaction, but they do need to bounce back and start, winning some games here. Yeah. So, but I do think this is a bit of an overreaction, especially because I had the Saints I think I had them win this division, but it wasn't with many wins either.
Right.
My win prediction with them wasn't too crazy, so I think it's a bit of an overreaction in my opinion for the Saints. Yeah. Do need to bounce back here though. All right. Does Doug Peterson is he the first coach to get fired this season, Jason, leading the 0-4 Jaguars?
I think this is an underreaction. Winning in the NFL you get to keep your job.
That's true.
Regardless of what excuses you want to make, Trevor Lawrence isn't playing well, the defense looks bad. It's not the coaching, it's the players. It doesn't matter. If you're not winning in the NFL, you're not going to have a job. Right. So I think that's an underreaction for Doug Peterson, unfortunately.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I kind of agree.
Let's go to Colorado Buffaloes, your favorite team in college football.
This is the question.
Can Colorado win the Big 12?
No. No. No, I don't care. I don't care that they're 4-1. I don't care that they're second right now in the ranks for the big. I don't care. No, this is an underreaction.
What if they go beat Kansas State this week?
They could beat Kansas State. They could beat Texas next week for all I care. They're not winning the Big 12. Realistically speaking, they are playing better than I thought. I only had them winning 3 games this year. They've done better than that. They've won 4. So that is definitely an improvement. I thought that their schedule was looking to be worse than it is. Possibly a lot of those teams might not be as good as I maybe thought. But overall, I still think there are teams that are better. Like we said, a BYU. I even think Utah, when healthy, is better than Colorado. There are better teams than Colorado in the Big 12. I don't see them winning, especially even if they somehow get to the conference championship. But yeah, no, this is an underreaction for me.
Is it overreaction, you mean?
Overreaction. Sorry. That's what I meant. Yeah, overreaction. They're not winning the Big 12. But a team that might not do something either is the Jets. They fall in a horrible game to the Broncos. Do the Jets miss the playoffs?
I think this is an overreaction. Last week we were ready to crown the Jets like they're going to the Super Bowl after a good win. And then, I mean, it's been up and down with the Jets. Like week 1, they look horrible. Like the Jets suck. And then they win 2 games. Oh my, the Jets are back. Holy, like AFC better watch out for Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. And they lose to the Broncos. And now everyone's freaking out. Now it's like, oh, they suck again. It's been 4 weeks. I think this is an overreaction, especially with the AFC not looking as strong as everyone expected to start the season. The wild card race at the end of the season might get interesting.
Yeah.
So I think that's an overreaction.
That's fair.
And the last one, we have 3 1-3 teams right here. The Browns, the Dolphins, and the Rams, all preseason teams that are like locks for the playoffs. Are they all 3 going to miss the playoffs this year?
Oof. This is actually a good question. I will say I'm leaning towards this being a bit of an underreaction, and the only reason is because of the Rams being here. I don't think the Dolphins and the Browns are I don't think that's an overreaction at all. They look horrible. The Dolphins might be the worst team in the NFL. And the Browns, they do get the best running back, in my opinion, back. But they still got to get the job done with quarterback, and he's not doing that.
Yeah.
I will say the Rams, I think, when healthy, can make a run here. The problem is that they're in a division with Seattle. Yeah, they're in a division with Seattle and San Francisco. That's the problem for them, because I think those
Arizona too.
Right. I mean, Arizona did kind of get lulled there, but I still think Seattle and San Francisco are playoff teams, and then getting a third in there in the NFC is tough when you have teams like Minnesota playing well, the Bucks playing well, Detroit. Like, I'm going to lean to say that this is I'm still hanging on to the Rams. This is a slight, very slight underreaction in my opinion, but I would not be shocked if all 3 of these teams don't miss. Actually, you know what? This might be a little bit of no, it's an underreaction. It's an underreaction. I'm believing in the Rams. When they get healthy, I'm believing in the Rams.
All right. That's the episode. That's a good one right there.
That's a banger. Lots to talk about.
A lot of football.
Football's fun, man. This weekend was crazy. This has to be the craziest weekend so far. Like, you guys blow out what everybody thinks the best team is. Bama forgets how to play football. They actually signed all of the Falcons coaching staff at halftime for that game. The Jets and the Broncos are in a 1935 score line. I don't know what's happening. Vikings are 4-0.
Like the Vikings and the Commanders, are they the 2 best teams in the NFC right now?
Is there going to be the NFC Championship game? I hope it is. That would be amazing.
If you had told me like preseason, like Vikings are 4-0 and the Commanders are 3-1.
With a rookie quarterback. And their rookie quarterback looks like he could maybe be in the MVP
you're
conversation.
On drugs, buddy.
Yeah, you're all over the perks. Crazy.
Yeah, let's wrap it up here. We appreciate you guys watching. Hit the like button. Comment what you want to see. Anything that you want to see football related. We are going to talk about it regardless. So put in the comments. Hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. We appreciate all the love. Everyone coming through. A lot of good things coming for us. So I appreciate everybody watching this.
We got a big month. Month this month. And in 2 weekends.
We're in the thick of it.
We are. That's like a quarter of
into the thick of it.
Quarter way of the season is done, pretty much. Yeah. Almost. NFL, yeah. At least that. Well, the NFL doesn't even really have quarters anymore, do they? Because there's 17 games.
Guess, yeah.
But technically speaking, we are moving out of the first quarter for the NFL and into some good headlines in college football coming up. So I'm excited.
Yeah. All right. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you for watching. We are out of here. We will be back on Thursday.
Thursday, baby.
Let's get it done.
We'll see you guys then. Peace.